this computer. All right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen as soon as I see that as an option. Let's see. Hey guys on Ramp Effect, hang tight for just a minute. I'm going to share my desktop. Share my screen and go back to the beginning. All right, here we go. Nothing says I've got 3 kids, one's got a fever, and I just got them to bed like this. I'm ready to go. All right, so guys, welcome to the call tonight. I think we've got like over 50 people on the line right now. If you were invited to the call tonight by a friend, a colleague, they probably just really care about you, and the reality is their lives have been changed by these products in one way, shape, or fashion. And they want you to hear about it. They want you to hear the hype about what these products are all about, what they've done to them physically and potentially financially. So today it's going to be, 30-minute overview, maybe a little less. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about the need in the US and the market trends for Isagenix. And then we're going to talk about the pillars and solutions of what we have to meet the needs within the market. What I will say is hey, Allie, hey, Alyssa. What I will say is if you've got questions, write them down as we go through the presentation. We won't have time at the end to address all of them, but you can certainly reach out to whomever invited you to this, and they can address questions for you. So I'm going to dive right in. So who am I? Who's this chick on the line? So my name's Melissa Hinault. I am a PharmD by trade, and my life's been transformed by these products. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about my story and how I came into these products, and ultimately it's become a booming business for me. And it's really fueling my heart and my soul and everything about me, transforming people's lives. So I will tell you that before Isagenix, I was extremely exhausted. I suffered from insomnia. Allie, who just said hey to me, was a college friend. She can attest to the fact that I took Ambien for about 10 years straight because I couldn't sleep. And I had a stubborn couple of inches I couldn't get rid of with baby number 2 that I'd recently had. And I had a real foggy head. I had told myself that it was just from being a mom of 2. I had a really big job. I was a traveling corporate manager, director across the country. I was in a corporate space, and I was really struggling internally with the time that I was trading for money. And it was an internal struggle as a mother with 2 kids in diapers. And I really attested, my job was really part of the reason I was so exhausted. And so we'll talk about that as part of the issues in the US and how we can be a solution. So what I will tell you is that a really good friend introduced me to, she's a really good friend now, she was an acquaintance at the time, introduced me to Isagenix. And within a number of days of being on the products, I began sleeping like a baby. I was no longer getting up, setting the snooze button and not getting up on time to go to the gym, but now I was waking up before the alarm went off. Significant mental clarity, high energy, lost 6 inches in my waist. And for those of you who are going to hang on to the end to learn about the financial opportunity, I, over 3 years, became completely debt-free and retired from corporate America through these amazing products. So that's a little bit about my story. And I've since then had a 3rd child. So, it wouldn't be a story without a picture. So I've got some photos for you. Not that I enjoy sharing half-naked pictures of myself, but I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can see me up in the top left-hand corner on day 1 before I started Isagenix. And within 30 days, I found my abs for the first time since having 2 kids. I was a healthy paleo clean eater with just a little bit of stubborn visceral fat in my midsection. I just could not get rid of no matter what I did. And we're going to talk about that here in the presentation. People constantly ask me, do I have to eat shakes for life? When do I get off of Isagenix? If you look over to the far right, that's me on day 730. So I like to paint the picture that this is a lifestyle. This is not a quick fix. I was able to maintain that body habitus over a number of years. And then you can see this past year I was pregnant and had my first ISA baby. And 30 days after my pregnancy, you can see the results of how the body has been nourished by these products. And I was able to resort to this nutrition while being busy with 3 kids trying to keep up. And I'm not sure what I would do without these products as a mom of 3 now. So that's a little bit about my story. Now, before we dive into market trends and talk about what Isagenix has to offer from a nutrition standpoint, I'll pause and just ask you a rhetorical question, and that is, are you living your ideal life? When you think about your sleep, your energy, your mental clarity, maybe your workouts at the gym, are you living the ideal life of who your optimal self? I know I personally was not before Isagenix, and post Isagenix, I feel like I have, for lack of a better term, swallowed a rainbow. You'll hear a lot of us say that, but just lit me up from the inside out and gave me the energy and the mental clarity to really steer my entire life in a totally different direction, to be honest. So I just asked that as a rhetorical question to think about as we walk through some of the problems in the U.S. and the solutions that we have with these products. I think this is a staggering fact. I'm going to run through why here in a minute. But over 69% of adults in North America are considered overweight or obese, and it's no surprise. Wherever you turn, there's a fast food place. It's the long hours that we're working. A lot of Americans, when I talk to folks within my network, we all know what we need to do to be healthy. It's just a matter of not having the time to do it because of the workload most times in our lives. So let me just run through a couple of interesting facts. And so the first thing I'll talk about, and probably many of you would agree, is that we live in a nutrient depleted country. Our soils are corrupt. Our food chain supply is corrupt. The spinach we eat today doesn't have nearly the iron in it that our parents and grandparents had. We're not getting the minerals and the vitamins that we need. And if you're clinical, you know that this is really, really important for enzymatic activity. What does that mean? It's the enzymes in our body that allow us to function at an optimal level, right? So that's the first piece. That's a huge issue in the U.S. And then the second piece is the toxic environment that we live in. You don't have to turn many corners to know that you're breathing in exhaust. A lot of us put makeup on our faces. We've got hair products, the mattresses that you sleep on and breathe in at night. There's chemicals and toxins that we cannot get away from. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in the era of microwave dinners and microwaving plastics in the microwave. We know that cancer, is caused by a lot of these nasty toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis. We also know that our bodies do a horrible job of excreting toxins, but they do a phenomenal job of depositing fatty deposits all around the toxins and neutralizing them and storing them in our body, and hiding them in our visceral area, okay? The preservatives that are in our food. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Let's talk about acidity. So some of you are probably pretty well read on acidity and alkalinity. It may be a new term to some of you, but we know that without a shadow of a doubt in clinical studies, we're seeing that cancer thrives in an acidic environment, okay? But cancer is halted. It can't propagate in an alkaline environment. So am I saying that Isagenix can cure cancer? Absolutely not. But we're going to talk in a little bit about how Isagenix can establish alkalinity. I, for one, came to Isagenix because I was already a super clean paleo eater and knew the science behind alkalinity. And when I learned the data behind Isagenix and how it creates alkalinity in the body, it was a no-brainer for me, because I was traveling a lot and trying to keep up this healthy lifestyle, and it was difficult to do. And having these shakes that were on the go and could help keep me alkaline, because I knew it was what was best for me, it became a really simple, quick solution. So let's talk about inflammation, okay? I know we have a lot of clinicians on the line, but we know that a lot of the American diet causes inflammation in our body. Again, you don't have to look far to see, you know, all the gut disorders that are out there: Crohn's, celiac, ulcerative colitis. Again, I'm not saying that these products cure any of that, but what I'm saying is that what we're seeing is... Sorry, guys. I'm back. Can somebody like shake their head that they can see me, hear me? Okay, cool. So I'm still streaming on Facebook Live. Okay, so we were talking about inflammation and how inflammation wreaks havoc on the body. A lot of it has to do with our nutrition. A lot of it is inherited, but we know that when we change the diet and address inflammation, we can holistically really help nourish the body and help it function at a higher caliber. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And the last piece I'll talk about is just a trend in America, is the fast-paced life that we're all living. I had lunch with a friend today, Carol, who I saw was on Facebook Live a minute ago, but we were talking about how crazy it is, how long of hours Americans work, how little time we have for ourselves and our family, and how nearly impossible it is to even cook a well-rounded meal for a family at dinner these days with the hours that we work and the rush and the push and what we have to get done. So there's a huge need for simple, quick nutrition. All right, so that's the problem, right? So let's talk about the solution. Let me get back to sharing my screen. Let's talk about the solution. So obviously isogenics is a solution. We've that's why you're here, right? I'm going to talk through a couple of the main pillars of isogenics that address a lot of what I just discussed and why these products, if you hear your friends who've sent you to this webinar tonight, and you've seen them just glowing, they're grinning from ear to ear, they've got color in their face, they're maybe obnoxiously happy, it's because their bodies are super clean, because of what we've done to get their bodies super clean through the pillars of this system, okay? So the first piece we'll talk about is the shakes, and I hit on that just a minute ago, in that, you know, our bodies, two key things. Our bodies are typically acidic due to our diet, and they're typically lacking in minerals and vitamins. And one of the things, a couple of things I love about this product is that we have tremendous numbers of minerals that are there that we're not getting in our soils that are depleted. We've got a tremendous amount of nutrition that's clinically proven to get the body alkaline. And I'm getting a reading that my thing is unstable. That we're getting the body alkaline. So these shakes are not only flooding you with minerals and vitamins and phenomenal nutrition that's going to get your body alkaline, it also has the perfect breakdown and composition of the perfect meal. And we've got the medium, I mean, I could go on and on about the medium chain triglycerides. I could get really geeky on you, but I will say that we have a lot of resources that you can go back and look at. But the other thing I love about our shakes is that there's no GMOs, there's no soy, there's no fillers, you know, there's no artificial sugars, all things that you want to look for in a meal replacement, because the last thing you want to do is think you're being healthy and then flood your body with a bunch of soy or whatnot. And the last thing I'll hit on here is just that our whey protein is undenatured, and it comes from happy cows that are they're grass-fed, they're free-roaming, and they're not pumped full of antibiotics and hormones. And so for that, we don't have to go through a high-heat pasteurization process. And so our protein, especially the branched chain amino acids, are in their innate perfect form because they're not fried with the heat. And so you're getting perfect, beautiful protein that's getting your body alkaline. Okay, so the second piece, we talked about inflammation, right? We talked about how inflammation and stress is a huge contributor to chronic illness. It's a huge contributor to our brain fog and how we feel and our production of cortisol. So I have to be a pharmacist here for a second, because I love what we have as a solution here for inflammation with Ionic Supreme because of the clinical data that is out there. Ionic Supreme is derived from adaptogens. Adaptogens are from a plant, they're plant-based herbs that are designed to help the plants adapt to stress. What we're seeing in our clinical studies is that they're helping the human body adapt to stress through reduction in oxidative stress, but also in the reduction of cortisol production. So you may or may not know cortisol is a stress hormone that also causes us to hold fat in our bodies, and it also interrupts our sleep. And so what we're seeing is that the average American is supposed to have a cortisol level that tapers over the day and is at the lowest at night. But what we're finding is that the average American actually has the reverse, because they're stressed out and they're running hard all day long. And by the time they lay their heads down at night, their minds are spinning and their cortisol is through the roof and they can't sleep, which was the case for me. What we're seeing with ionics and the adaptogens is it actually has been clinically proven over time to reduce the production of cortisol throughout the day for the human body. So this isn't just studies in plants. This isn't studies in a petri dish. These are studies in the human body. And they're all natural and derived from the earth. So no longer am I taking Ambien to sleep at night. Now I'm able to drink a non-sedating, adaptogen-rich herbal tea that has completely changed my sleep habits and my circadian rhythm. Also, for those of you who have a lot of chronic inflammatory disorders, you'll find that this is a phenomenal adjunct product for those of you with chronic illness. I'm not stating that it's going to cure or heal, but I have good friends who have MS and all types of inflammatory disorders like rheumatoid arthritis, and they use Ionic Supreme twice daily. And have seen tremendous results in their symptomatology and helping reduce that. I'm not saying that it's curing anything, but people see dramatic results with their symptoms. Okay, so third and last piece I'm going to talk about really as far as the pillars go, if you'll think back to what we talked about with toxins. So all those toxins that we're accumulating, there are heavy metal toxins, and there are water-soluble toxins. The heavy metal toxins typically are more fat-soluble, and somebody's drawing all over my board, but that's okay. What Cleanse for Life does is Cleanse for Life, again, everything about Isogenics is natural. It's derived from the earth. I liken it to like Eastern medicine or and diet in a Western medicine and diet packaging. But the Cleanse for Life is loaded with antioxidant-rich botanicals that help detoxify the body. We know that our body does not clear toxins well, but it does a really good job storing them and hiding them in our visceral fats. And that's kind of a protective mode that our body gets into. We've done studies where we've seen that the most superb athletes, if you do body scans, you can see a reduction in visceral fat through detoxification. So it's not just the fat, we think of like people who are overweight, but the reality is even people who are underweight can have visceral fat that's not healthy because our body uses that visceral fat to store toxins. So when you think back to those first pictures you saw of me where I went from day 1 to day 30, that was visceral fat. I lost 6 inches in my waist. I didn't lose but like 4 or 5 pounds, but I lost 6 inches in my waist, and it was all toxins, which is why I felt so good when I was done. So the botanicals are designed to go in pair in unison with intermittent fasting. And there's a couple of different options in how you can intermittently fast. But the Cleanse for Life helps strip those toxins, sequester them, bind them, and serve them to your liver on a silver platter for your kidneys to clear out through drinking a lot of water. That's, you can go back to the person who introduced you to the products and the concept to learn more about how cleanse days work, how shake days work. But I wanted to recap the major pillars, again, are the shakes, which help shift the body to an alkaline state and supply a lot of minerals from the ionic alfalfa. I don't even know if I mentioned that, but there's ionic alfalfa in our shakes, which have those 70 trace minerals. So we're flooding our body with trace minerals for enzymatic activity to help your body perform at a better level. Shifting the body to an alkaline state, and that's the shakes, right? So we're addressing that piece. And then secondly, we're reducing stress. We call it Mommy's Liquid Gold, the Ionic Supreme. I don't go a day without it, but I've gone three years without Ambien. And then the third piece, to recap, is the detoxification, which is the cleanse for life. So if you think about those three pillars put together, you're creating a squeaky clean body. You know, people will sometimes say after their first 30 days, I'm full of energy. Where did all this energy come from? And I love it. The reality is the energy's always been there. It's just that at a cellular level, we had such a harsh environment that your body was expending so much energy to combat that harsh environment. And now that you've expelled all of that, you have free energy left over to live life, have mental clarity, sleep better, function better, work out better. The list goes on and on and on. So people ask, is Isagenix for life? Absolutely. I can't imagine living without it. Obviously, maintenance looks a lot different than the first 30-day nutritional overhaul. But the one key product I did want to hit on before I move on to the income opportunity, and I'll close out with product, is our Isagenesis. And it's beyond Isagenesis, it's also just our entire vitamin line. Our vitamin line has a phenomenal dissolution and absorption rate. As a pharmacist, I can really appreciate that because there's a lot of vitamins on the market that you don't absorb. They're marketed to take daily. What you'll see with our vitamins is they're packaged twice daily because we know that the body absorbs certain vitamins at a slower rate, at a lower dose. So if you overload with a vitamin in the beginning of the day, you'll end up just peeing half of it out. That's the reality, and you've just paid for additional product that you're not consuming. And so that's what I love about, Isagenix doesn't miss a single detail about the quality and the purity of these products. And so the product B, which is now Isagenesis, I guess, the science behind it actually won a Nobel Prize in 2007. And it's really around slowing the progression of aging. So we're looking at supporting the end caps of your telomeres, which sounds foreign to probably everyone, but it's, your chromosomes over time, they fray at the ends like shoelaces. And when that happens, you age. And so what we're doing with product B is we're actually working to slow the progression of the degradation of those telomeres. Basically, it's like the plastic on the end caps of your tennis shoelaces. We're preserving that. And my skin is actually happier than it's been since, 5 years ago. And I think a lot of it has to do not only with detoxifying my body monthly, but also with product B. So that's a little bit of a recap about the products. Obviously, we have many more other products to support the body. A lot of folks will transition into our performance line after they get in tip-top shape from an energy perspective. That's definitely where I am. I love our performance line, but I'm going to move on for the sake of time. One thing I will land on here, and then I'll close out with product for those who are just on the line for product. And that is, as I said in the beginning, I'm a pharmacist. I have a doctorate in pharmacy, and I come from an industry where I supported clinical research for the past 2 or 3 years. And I couldn't get behind a product unless they had the science behind it. And the thing I love about this company is that they've done a head-to-head study against the Heart Healthy Diet. And they didn't just do it for a couple of weeks, because anybody can lose weight over a couple of weeks. You can do the keto diet, you can do the Atkins diet, you can just, I don't know, you can actually do donuts for a month and lose weight. I've heard about it, the donut diet. But the reality is what's sustainable. And we did a head-to-head over 52 weeks. 52 weeks against the Heart Healthy Diet. And you can see that patients on Isagenix lost 56% more weight, okay? They lost 47% more fat and twice as much visceral fat. That is hardcore data. These are facts. And this is why this company is becoming a household name and why it's being incorporated into families as a part of their nutrition, because it's filling the gap of our food chain supply. It's creating healthier bodies. Whether you're underweight or you're overweight or you're the most superb athlete, we still provide solutions for healthy bodies. If you need to lose weight and you apply our system, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose visceral fat. If you come into this system and you need to put on muscle mass, if you flood your body with our products, especially our high quality protein, you're going to put on lean muscle mass. We've seen it even in our geriatric patients, which is unheard of. If you come in and you think you're in tip-top shape as an athlete, I challenge you to do a 30-day cleanse and see where your PRs are, your personal records after your 30 days. Completely will change your game. So that is my product overview in a nutshell. So for those of you who were just on the line to learn about product, I'm going to move into our Eat for Free Club all the way to financial freedom over the next couple of minutes. And so if that's not something you're interested in, you're welcome to jump off, but do know before you jump off that we have free shipping and we have free enrollment this week. So it's upwards of like $60 savings. So if this piques your interest, it's something that you want to look further into, I suggest reaching back out to the person who sent you to this overview and take advantage of that promotion. I've never seen them both at the same time before Sunday of this week. So that is that. Now I'm going to move on. Somebody just sent a chat. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Hold on a second, guys. I don't know where my mouse went. Oh, well. So now we're going to move on to how do you eat for free, the Eat for Free Club, all the way to how I retired from corporate America and I'm doing this full time and was able to, hit a six-figure income, sharing these products and getting people healthy. So this is Herb Cepeda and his wife. They happen to be the #1 income earners in all of Isagenix, and they happen to be our lead coaches. They are phenomenal people, and they're a herd of children. So I'm going to take you back to the beginning when I talked to you about the market trends and why the time is right for Isagenix. And I talked a lot about the nutritional need, and I talked about the gaps in people's lives nutritionally and how we had a solution. But Isagenix also has a solution financially. And I want to walk through some staggering statistics with you about the financial situation in the US and how Isagenix is a solution. And I'm also going to obviously talk about how you can get your products paid for and eat for free. But so I've got them written down here. It just blows my mind. So 8 out of 10 Americans currently live paycheck to paycheck. 8 out of 10 Americans. I can vouch that 3 years ago when I resorted to my friend to get on this nutrition, even though I had a really good salary, we didn't have a lot in savings. And I actually, one of the reasons I needed the nutrition was because I was working my fanny off, was traveling across the country, and my health was taking a toll because of my career, but I had to keep going with my career to pay the big bills that we had. Second statistic, the average American has $5,700 in debt. The average American has $5,700 in debt. 3 years ago, I was over $100,000 in debt in college loans. So those of you who are recently out of school, or maybe you're not even recent, you just have a doctorate like I do and you've been paying it off for 10 years. That was me 3 years ago. 57% of Americans, that's more than half, have less than $1,000 in savings. 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. They say you should have like 6 months of your household income, I think, in your savings account. So staggering, right? It's just staggering that as well as a wealthy of a country that we are, that we're living so financially strapped. The last thing I want to land on, and it's here in this picture, and that is that the top stressors for people are money and work. They're the top stressors, and I can vouch for that. I think there was a statistic that said if you could add $300 to a monthly income of a household, you could reduce spousal arguments. And that's definitely for sure. And actually, I'm going to stop the Facebook Live video because I'm not sure Renee wants me talking about financial opportunity on residual on ramp effect. Okay. So those are some staggering facts about the financial situation in the U.S. And I was certainly one of them 3 years ago. And I don't think, every class, I think in every financial situation, no matter your earning income, I think people live to their means. So let's talk about the solution, the solution within Isagenix from a financial standpoint. This is our mission, and this is something I can really get behind. Being a pharmacist, always putting the patient first, always being focused on health. This company's vision is to impact world health and free people from physical and financial pain, and in the process, create the largest health and wellness company in the world. Who can't get behind that? Improving world health, and in the process, improve financial and physical pain. So let's talk about the financial opportunity. So we talked about the Eat for Free Club, so if you're eating the products and you love the products and you've got great results, like all of us, there is no reason that you actually have to pay for these products. That's one of the things I love about Isagenix. Isagenix simply pays the most enthusiastic product user the most. I mean, that's the reality. Whoever's going to share it the most and create a business of sharing the most is going to get compensated the most. So you use the products, you share it with your network, and you get paid. You get referral bonuses. So the most simplistic upfront compensation that I can share with you is that if you come in this week, and this is you up top, and you introduce 2 people to a value pack, which is by far the best pack. I highly recommend everybody start with it for a number of reasons. But the beauty of it is the company's going to give you $450 for introducing you to introducing 2 people to the product. One of the reasons we have such a great referral bonus is because we know once people get on the products, they're going to love them. The company doesn't mind shoveling out money up front because they know it's a great long-term investment. If they can compensate you nicely for introducing a new consumer, they know there's an 87% chance the consumer is going to continue to order because you're going to feel phenomenal. And it's a wholesale account just like Amazon. And you're just going to have groceries replaced, and they're going to show up at your front doorstep every single month. And so the story goes, when you share and you get the $450 in sharing the value pack, your friends can do the exact same thing. Now, you're probably on the other line saying it can't be that simple, Melissa. There's no way that you've exited corporate America through you share and then your friends share. But the reality is that's exactly what happens. You bring people in, they introduce their network, and it's sharing of products through networks. It's word of mouth. It's just like my favorite gym, Metabolic. I can't tell you how many referrals I've sent them. And I get a t-shirt, I get like $50 off, but I don't get a royalty every month that they show up. Whereas with our company, you do. And that's the back-end compensation of Isagenix, which I won't get into today. I just wanted to start with the simplicity of getting your products paid for up front. What I will say is that we have a standard kind of referral bonus process where you get your products paid for up front. I mean, you can get your products paid for up front and some as you introduce people to the product. And over a period of time, you can, if you're beyond just sharing for getting your products paid for free, but you're actually interested in creating a business, what happens is you propagate this and your network shares with their network and their network shares with their network is you create massive volume that's coming through your center. And the company believes in giving you a percentage of that back in your pocket every week while you sleep. And that's the power of residual income versus linear income. When I was working in my corporate job, I got paid for the hours that I worked. when I was off on maternity leave for 12 weeks, I only got paid for a very small portion of that time. And the rest of the time I didn't get paid. And it's because I was trading time for money. Now with isogenics and residual income, while you sleep, while you're on maternity leave, if you've built a business center of consumers and your network has built a business center of consumers, you're going to continuously get paid for the volume that runs through that center. And that's where it can become extremely lucrative depending on how you expand your network and your team expands their network. So that's a little bit about isogenics and the products and the financial opportunity. You know, I'm here to tell you that at the least, you dive in and do a 30-day system and get in the best health of your life, and you're the best version of yourself. You can also then share your story with others and get your products paid for. Or you can be the big visionary that many of us are, and learn how to actually share these products in a way that can be extremely lucrative. And that's for a whole nother conversation. But either way, I am obviously passionate about these products. I'm passionate about their mission, and I'm also passionate about how they compensate those who share the most, and that's where they invest their money as far as marketing goes. And it doesn't get any better than helping other people get healthy and being compensated for it. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope this has been helpful for you guys. And again, just as a reminder, we've got the great promos going on this week to go check out. Go back and speak with the person who got you on the line. Free shipping, free enrollment. You really have nothing to lose. And I love this quote. So if someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, you say yes, and then you learn how to do it later. So that's been my overview, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.